When this is happening outside of your house, you're obligated to make some mochi. The thing that I love about mochi the most is that it's like a little pocket of joy that you can just take anywhere. Well, until it melts in your hand, but. Let's make some awesome mochi, and for this I am actually going to be using Salt and Straw ice cream. I made Salt and Straw ice cream for about a year and I absolutely love their stuff, and they're local to Portland. I'm going to be using chocolate gooey brownie, one of my favorites. This is just so good. You want to scoop with about a 3/4 ounce scooper and place this into a muffin tin lined with plastic. We're going to go ahead and do this with 4 portions of our chocolate brownie. You can do as many as you want, but since I have 3 of them, I'm going to be using 4 of each. We also have this chocolate malted cookie dough flavor, which is kind of a new one, and it is fantastic. Then finally, Pots of Gold, which is actually cereal milk ice cream with Lucky Charms marshmallows in it. Yes, it is as delicious as it sounds. So go ahead and get all of your ice cream scooped into your lined muffin tin, then make sure it's covered really well, and then throw it in the freezer overnight, or at least for about 4 hours. So to actually make your mochi, you're going to need something like mochi ko, which is sweet glutinous rice flour. This actually has a lot more starch than normal short grain rice, and it is already ground up for you. So for this, we're going to use 2.5 cups worth of mochi ko, 60 grams worth of sugar. Bring this all together before we add in 500 milliliters worth of water. The reason why we want to do this is so that way everything gets fully incorporated. We have this in a microwave safe container. Yes, we're going to be microwaving this. So wrap this with just a little bit, oh god, almost dropped that. Wrap this with a little bit of plastic. We're going to throw this in the microwave for 1 minute. This is going to actually start steaming that mochi ko, so that way we can start bringing it together and slowly start cooking it. This is still really loose, so we're going to do this a few times, but I like to whisk it in between each steaming. So now after the second one, we're actually going to be using a spatula to start stirring it all together, and after the third one, you kind of see that it's starting to get really nice and thick. This has been microwaved for a total of about 6 to 7 minutes. Really depends on your microwave. Mine just full blast all the time. Now we also need a ton of cornstarch and a little bit of parchment paper. I like to measure out my parchment paper to my sheet tray because we're going to lay this out on the sheet tray later. Go to get a bunch of cornstarch on your parchment. You want to make sure this is pretty saturated because this will stick. Dump all of your mochi ko batter directly onto the parchment with that cornstarch, and we're going to go ahead and start laying this out just a little bit. We do want to make sure we have cornstarch on top of it because this is super sticky. I actually tried to use the rolling pin for this, but it just wasn't working, so I went ahead and flattened it out by hand, and then once I was able to flatten it out by hand enough, I took the rolling pin to it just to make sure everything was nice and even. I wanted it to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. Since I rolled this out kind of big, my sheet tray no longer fit, so I went ahead and slid my batter on top of half of the sheet tray, and then we grabbed another sheet tray that I have, luckily that they're the same, and slid the other half onto that. I was trying to get this into the fridge to cool down, but we're going to go ahead and have to cut this. So we're going to cut off just a small amount of this so that way we can make room, and we're going to be using the pizza cutter, which actually it didn't work at all. We actually had to just use a regular chef knife. But we cut off a piece of this and set it aside so that way we have 2 batches worth of our mochi ko. Now we can actually fit both of these in the fridge. We need to cool these down for about 20 minutes. This is going to help set our dough. You want to make sure it's cooled before you start really working with it. Now grab yourself a 3.5 inch to 3 3/4 inch cookie cutter. You want to make sure it's fairly big. I actually had these a little bit too small, so that way we can fit that ball of ice cream right in there. But the thickness is really nice, so we're going to go with it. Grab yourself 1 ice cream ball. Don't pull all of them out. They are going to start to melt. Place that right into the middle and slowly start closing the bottom of that ball. Get this nice and padded. It's a little bit of a frumpy boy, but it'll do. Grab a little bit of plastic wrap, place this in the middle of it, and twist it just a little bit to kind of get everything nice and tight. You want to immediately place this back in the freezer and repeat the process. But now we have all of this extra mochi, and we got to do something with this. This is a little bit of a bonus, but one of my favorite things to do is fry up a little bit of your mochi with a little bit of sesame oil and salt, and give this a little flip. Come on, flip. Come on, buddy. You got this. One more time. There it is. Get a little bit of color on it. Get it nice and steamy and just pop it onto a plate. We're going to throw a little bit of soy sauce on this and just have it as a little mochi snack while all the other mochi ice cream is getting nice and solid. This is delicious. I highly recommend you guys try doing stuff like this. Now after a few hours, our mochi are really, really hard. So we're actually going to let these sit. That's enough, Paul. Stop. We get it. Now we're gonna go ahead and let these sit out for about 5 minutes before cutting them in half. You do really wanna let them rest and temper so that way we can cut into these bad boys. And look at our beautiful mochi. I'm really excited for these. This is going to be the chocolate chip cookie dough, and then finally the pots of gold, which didn't show a lot of marshmallow, but that's okay. And now we have our beautiful snackable mochi. But before we actually dive into these, a word from today's sponsor, Just Say & Co. Making mochi, huh, Deku? Kachan, what are you doing here? Bro, I live here. I just wanted to make mochi today. You just wanted to make it? Then who is that?
Mochi?
Oh, that's kind of a coincidence. Whether you're trying to be a Super Saiyan God, Go Plus Ultra, or become one of the Akatsuki, you need to check out Just Say & Co. They make some of the most comfortable gear for working out, and I will say, it looks the best. There is nothing else on the market that looks this good. Check out Just Say & Co. and use CHEFPK at checkout for your very own discount. There it is, guys, your very own mochi ice cream. Now, you do need to leave these out for about 1 to 2 minutes before you really want to bite into them because they are a little bit hard fresh out of the freezer. I think one of my favorite things about mochi is that I can just grab 1 or 2 of them and be totally satisfied versus like eating half a pint of ice cream because that's, you know, you just keep going and it's just... But also, you can cut them into little bites of joy, just like this. The mochi is still soft and a little chewy, and it's really neutral in flavor. Not overly sweet. The ice cream itself, I mean, it's salt and straw. It's really good. That one was the chocolate chip cookie dough. This is the brownie. And then finally, the Lucky Charms one. They're so good. That mochi is so easy to make. Check out the link down below if you want to pick up your very own glutinous rice flour, which you really do need. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time trying to make it. Let me know what your favorite style of ice cream or mochi really is. I love chocolate mochi. I think I'm going to make this again, but we're going to add cocoa powder to the mochi mix to make it a chocolate mochi with chocolate ice cream, because why not? My name is Chef PK, bringing anime and video game food to life. Get subscribed, and remember, keep playing with your food. I'm gonna put these away because I don't need the rest of them. Not yet. I'm so out of line with the phrase game. Let's take a break, been a long day.